Well, South African Airways is not the only state-owned enterprise under severe financial pressure. One expert has suggested that perhaps it's time for all the struggling SOEs to consider business rescue to alleviate continued financial distress. Joining us to unpack that is business rescue and insolvency expert at Hogan Lovells. That's Eliott. Alex, thanks so much for your time. Today, is SAA a prime candidate for business rescue?
SAA is a difficult one. It's, there's lots of considerations involved. It's not only a commercial aspect that you have to look at. Certainly business rescue gives a number of very useful tools to business rescue practitioners that they can use to turn around an ailing business, and SAA is no exception. However, there's other very important considerations.
And they are?
For example, there could be cross guarantees that have been given by other entities, other SOEs, which could be triggered if SAA goes into business rescue, and there could be serious unintended consequences.
Okay.
There's also other issues such as the fact that SAA is our national carrier. It bears our country's name, and it could be seen by not only government but the outside world that the national sovereignty of the country is being threatened by such an action.
All right, so let's look at the business rescue proposal. Aside from all the other potential guarantees that might be triggered, under what circumstances does an entity, a company, decide to go that route?
If the company is financially distressed, then the board of directors must consider putting it into rescue. By that I mean it will be unable to pay its debts at any time within the next 6 months.
Okay. So but this has been 6 years, for example, of losses in this particular entity. This is what, the legislation came into effect in 2011?
Well, unfortunately, I do remember the 1990s, and I think the stories about SAA were pretty much the same for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
We've had government bailouts consistently, we've had turnaround plans that have been proposed for decades, and none of them have worked. And we all know, we go onto those SAA flights, they're always full. How is it possible that a business with so many customers could still be losing money?
And one that has so much government support as well. Suggestions also have been to privatize it. What do you think of that?
Well, it would be a big step. And, one of the interesting things is that these SOEs, which are actually state-owned companies, SOCs, were all once parastatals. So what the government has done is corporatize the parastatals and make them into companies, but not quite taken the next step. The next step is to say, well, are we going to open them up to normal rules of mergers and acquisitions, which would allow privatization? So it's quite a mindset shift, I think, for government to take, to think of a privatization option. But it may well be the right one in this case.
So some who've worked within the SOCs have said that they are grossly undercapitalized. The capital structures were never fully taken into consideration, particularly with the structural issues of the South African economy and the monopolies and the duopolies that currently exist. So were they not fully or properly corporatized then, potentially, from the beginning?
Well, many of them have got monopolies, or they've historically had monopolies, and it's not that difficult to make a successful business when you're in that preferential position. So I wouldn't agree that they've all been undercapitalized, and many of them are actually not insolvent in the sense that their liabilities exceed their assets. They are solvent, and they do have assets. I don't think SAA falls into that category, but there's many others that do. For example, SABC has actually got more assets than one would think. But they are illiquid. They're struggling to pay their debts as and when they fall due.
So in that case then, is it the constant changing in boards, the constant changing in executive management, is that hindering process, or is it actually taking us towards some sort of a solution? Because they change boards all the time. The people get suspended and stay at home in some cases for years on end, getting paid with cases not being resolved. How is that also affecting the way that these entities are run?
Well, instability in management is clearly going to cause problems with any of these businesses, any type of business. Of course, there's constant allegations about many of the SOE board members that they're involved in corruption, or they're grossly incompetent, unfit for the position. At least with the current new CEO of SAA, all indications are that he's got a good reputation, he's got good plans, and perhaps he should be given an opportunity.
Wow, what's the way forward here? If business rescue may not be the way, one of the other suggestions is a part asset sale, for example, with SAA.
Well, SAA doesn't really have any assets,
yeah.
So that's a bit of a difficult one.
They have sold off all their planes, haven't they?
Yeah, have sold off all the planes, and I think that was done by Coleman Andrews a long time ago. SAA has got a brand, though. It does have a brand. It's got good routes. It's got great access to airports.
The Star Alliance membership.
It's got the Star Alliance membership. So it got something, but probably privatization would be the best route.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks
Thank you,
for your time today. Business rescue and insolvency expert at Hogan Lovells. That's Alex Eliott.